Between upsets and buzzer beaters, March Madness always delivers. Hello everyone and welcome inside the Cronkite News studio here in downtown Phoenix for another edition of our Friday show of Cronkite News. I'm Matt Venezia. I'm going to take you back 25 years ago to one of the greatest moments in NCAA tournament history. But before that, we're going to hear from Noelle Blumel as she examines one of the remaining Final Four teams and its unique ties to the Valley.
That's right, the teams are set, but missing from this year's Final Four is any Arizona team. But ASU head coach Bobby Hurley has his own rooting interests, as his brother Dan will try to take UConn to a national championship. Bobby said he's proud of his brother and inspired about how he's been able to take that Huskies program to victory.
I look at my brother as an example, and again, he has done such an amazing job with building that team and the program there, and he had trouble winning the first round game for a couple of years, and now he's in the Final Four.
It's no secret that basketball runs within the Hurley family. Dan will be making his first ever Final Four appearance and credits his Hall of Fame father, who he said instilled that coaching spirit within the brothers.
Yeah, my dad is a patriarch of our whole basketball family. My dad is one of the great coaches of his generation. If he coached in college and made that decision or went to the NBA, you'd be talking about him just like the way you talk about Coach K and all the great coaches of all time. So this thing all started with my dad. And we're just blessed that we grew up in Jersey City and found basketball and had a dad that pushed us. And I'm just proud that he's been able to travel with us, and now I get to take my dad to a Final Four.
Bobby is also celebrating a recent contract extension, keeping the Valley his home, at least for now. He also said he's confident he can bring the Sun Devils back to basketball prominence.
The guys that stayed with me was Kamani Lawrence and Jalen Graham, and then it was a blank canvas. And you know, in 2 years, you know, we're back in the NCAA tournament. So I'm super proud of the work we put in to get the program back to where it needs to be. And a big part of that is, you know, is Ray Anderson and Dr. Crow's commitment to the program and how they feel about the steps we're taking and the direction of it. So I'm just very appreciative of their support, and just happy that I'm back here.
We know Bobby will be rooting on his brother this Saturday, and hey, even if UConn takes the whole national championship, Bobby will still have a one-up on his brother, as he won 2 national titles as a player at Duke.
March Madness is known for its buzzer beaters. When we look back in history, Christian Laettner sent Duke to the Final Four, or Chris Jenkins winning the national title for Villanova. I got one for you. Bryce Drew, 25 years ago, created a Cinderella story for Valparaiso as Valpo upset Ole Miss. At the time, Bryce Drew's dad, Homer, was the head coach for Valpo. Now Bryce is right up the road here in Phoenix as the head coach for GCU. I had the chance to sit down with the father-son duo to relive the iconic moment known simply as the shot. The shot heard around basketball. Did it still give you chills after all these years?
Chills? No. Chills during the shot? Yes. As it was arched up high, it looked, Matt, like it was going to be short. And so I think that all the prayers in the building just kind of lifted it over, because if you watch the rim, it kind of hits the top of the rim and then goes right on in. And so now when we see it, I just get a smile because I know the ball's going to go in.
I remember us standing right on the right side of the court over there while the first free throw was getting ready to go. The play that happened was really a blur. I thought the ball was short. When it's short, you kind of jump to try to give it that extra umph, and so I felt like I was going to be short. It skimmed the rim, went in, and then I don't even remember diving on the floor. I don't remember anything to basically being on the floor.
2.5 seconds left on the clock. Free throws at the line. The first one is missed by Ole Miss. You call timeout. Can you take us inside the huddle in terms of what was being drawn up?
We just went through the possibilities of what might happen if he makes, if he misses, what are our options, and are we all prepared to do it? So it was really just a quick review, and with the hopefulness that he would miss it and we would get a chance to make a tie. And
you could hear in the video of the shot, pacer, pacer. The play was being yelled out. Where did that originate from? When he missed the shot, the players looked over and they just yelled pacer, and that was the name of the play that we use for game-ending situations. I felt wonderful because they didn't need a coach. They knew exactly what to do.
Bill Jenkins, Drew, 3 for the win! Go! Oh my! Oh my! Wow.
And Bryce, 25 years later, every time March Madness rolls around, you're still hearing about the shot. How does it feel to still be brought up in terms of one of the greatest moments in March Madness history?
It's a special blessing, you know, basketball family. My brother coaches at Baylor now, won the national championship. So we've been, you know, our lives, have been, our schedules are entertained in and around the NCAA tournament. So have that moment in the tournament for something that we've dreamt of our whole life is very special, and now get to see the highlight years later, you know, makes it even more special.
And on top of that, I mean, after all these years now, to share it in a father-son relationship, what was that like, being on the floor and seeing your dad and having that moment together?
You know, we've always had a really close relationship. It's probably the reason why I went to play for him, you know, at Valpo. And at the time, it was very special, but as you've gotten older, and now I have a son who's 8, it's even more special to me. I remember at the time I got a lot of messages from people, you know, from fathers and sons, and comparing, you know, our relationship and theirs. And I understood it, but after having my own son, I think I understand it at a different level, you know, just how special it was.
Now, it was really special to me, but older brother Scott says, you know, if you don't go and play for Dad, no more meals at home, no more cars, you know. So I think Scott put the pressure on him to come. But it was a joy for me for 4 years to have him.
70-69, the kid performs another miracle.
And one other thing about that Pacer play, Noel, Homer tells us that was the best execution of the play they had ever run, including in practice where they barely even had a defense guarding it.
Yeah, it seems like they really picked the right time to run that play to perfection, and now the Drew family has their own one shining moment. When we come back, we'll take a look at another anniversary and a team still chasing a championship. 30 years ago, the Suns made it to the NBA Finals. They did it again in 2021. Do they have what it takes to win it all in 2023?
Hello, I'm Adrienne Farewell, General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Suns host the Denver Nuggets tonight at Footprint Center, and with 6 games left in the regular season, we'll see if the Suns can build on these games going into the postseason. They'll still see the Nuggets one more time after this game and see if they can use that momentum with Kevin Durant now back in the lineup heading into the postseason. Our Noel Blumel sat down with Tom Leander, the Suns TV host, to get some of the answers involving the Suns and the postseason.
Tom, I know I'm here in what is normally known as Tom Chambers C, and clearly I am no TC by any means, but this isn't completely out of the ordinary as we are here in studio, pregame show set where all the Suns magic happens, right?
Yeah, I think he has his nameplate there, and you probably see a bunch of trash down there as well. But yeah, no, this is kind of our home away from home. We do the home shows in the pavilion and then the road shows here at ASU, and it's been just such a nice collaboration between the Suns and ASU to allow us to use the studio. And I mean, have all the amenities and students coming by, looking through the window. We wave. We always invite them in, but they seem to be too scared.
Yeah, well, and I've been one of those students, so I know exactly how that feels.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Always say hi, yes. So, of course, you two, encyclopedias for the Suns with all the experience you have, so let's just get right into it. Nearing the end of the regular NBA season here in the coming weeks, what are some obstacles the Suns are facing as they gear up to enter the playoffs?
I mean, Monty is really experimenting lately. TJ Warren is in rotation now. Terrence Ross comes over in a deal. So a lot of new faces, and that's one of the things when you look at championship teams, whether it's the Warriors or, you know, even last year the Celtics getting to the finals because they've had most of their guys together, and especially the last couple months of the season. You don't want to just throw new combinations out there in the first round of the playoffs, or even, heck, if the Suns drop back a little bit and they're in a play-in tournament, you just don't want to be in an experimental phase. So that's the hope, is that these guys get some playing time together in the last couple of weeks, start to build that chemistry, and just start to feel comfortable on the court together, knowing where each other is, and not being intimidated by Kevin Durant. I mean, and I don't think the guys were. KD was really involving everybody, and he's one of those guys that you could just seamlessly fit into your team because he's so smart, he's very unselfish, and he's a great defensive player as well.
How do you foresee, you know, the urgency of acquiring a ring this season specifically?
You know, there is some urgency. I mean, Chris Paul's going to turn 38 in May. So, and Kevin Durant, I think, still has some young legs. You know, we've seen a little bit of regression in Chris Paul athletically. You know, he's still so smart out there, and he'll still give you 16 assists on a night and have 4 or 5 steals. But in terms of athleticism and staying in front of other players defensively, he's having a more difficult time with that. So I'd like to see the Suns at least start grooming another point guard for that position. But as I look at it, I mean, if the Suns don't go all the way this year in the playoffs, I definitely think that window is open next year. So it's playoffs here in 2023 and then 2024, and then it really starts to close, I think. On a Kevin Durant, you know, Book obviously is still young, and DeAndre Ayton, but at that point, they're going to really have to start thinking hard about who they want to surround those two guys with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tom Leander, that's all I got for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing the journey the Suns will take in this playoff season.
Thanks, Noelle.
Thanks.
The Suns made the NBA Finals just 2 years ago, but it was their run to the finals 3 decades ago that helped lay the groundwork for the team's legacy. Even though they didn't get the ring in '93, they won the heart of the city, and Michael Donahue recaps how that team made a huge impact on the Valley.
It's the Suns and the Chicago Bulls in Game 6.
Game 6, 1993. With the Suns leading 98-96, John Paxson drained a 3 in the final seconds to give the Bulls their 3rd straight championship and bring an end to a dream season for the Suns, who fell 2 wins shy of reaching basketball's pinnacle.
Chicago Bulls have 3 straight NBA championships.
It was a year to remember, and it could have been climaxed with a championship and wasn't.
The beginning of the 1992-93 season brought dramatic change to the Suns franchise. The team moved into a state-of-the-art arena, unveiled new uniforms, and added larger-than-life superstar Charles Barkley.
I think for me, a change was needed.
Jerry Colangelo, who owned the team at the time, pulled the trigger on a blockbuster trade to acquire Barkley from the Philadelphia 76ers, hoping Sir Charles could provide the difference between a playoff team and a championship team.
We wanted to get over the hump. We just couldn't get over the hump. We felt we needed a star. When you start talking about stars, they're not necessarily available.
While much of the focus was on the Suns' success on the court, Colangelo also had his eyes on energizing downtown Phoenix.
It was pretty desolate. And it came to me very quickly that all after 6 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock at night, you could throw a bowling ball down the street and you wouldn't hit anything.
So we'd come down for practice, come down for games, but as soon as practice was over, as soon as the game was over, we'd go to Scottsdale. You'd go to other places for dinner, to live.
Colangelo, who grew up in Chicago, dreamed that Phoenix could one day have the Windy City's bustling atmosphere.
Under the right circumstances, this could be a vibrant place. And I believed in my heart of hearts that if we put an arena downtown, that could be one of the real factors to make this thing turn around.
The Suns set a franchise record with 62 wins. Barkley was named the league's most valuable player. Every game at America West Arena was a sellout, and Phoenix was on its way to the NBA Finals for the 2nd time in franchise history.
The Suns win. They're the Western Conference champions, and they move on to play the defending world champion Chicago Bulls for all the marbles.
While the Suns ultimately fell short of a title, they forged a bond with the city that was on display at a parade typically reserved for champions.
We never expected this many people to show up today.
On a June day with temperatures soaring into the triple digits, 300,000 fans crammed into downtown Phoenix to celebrate a season of success.
To have all those people show up
at 112 degrees. The fire department was there, and they were just taking spray hoses and pointing them straight up in the air and creating rain just to cool people off.
The parade symbolized more than the accomplishments of just one season. It laid a foundation of what the city of Phoenix and its sports could become.
And the recognition that they cared that much meant a lot to me. We had an obligation. We had a responsibility to the community and to our fans, and they put an exclamation mark on that.
And 30 years later, that 1992-93 Suns team left a mark on the city that is still celebrated today. In Phoenix, Michael Donahue, Cronkite Sports Report.
That old footage was fun to watch, Noelle, and you can not only see how much the team has grown, but also the city of Phoenix as well.
Absolutely, and the Suns paid homage to that 92-93 squad this year by bringing back those iconic sunburst jerseys that are still a fan favorite, worn by celebrities like Drake, T.I., Jonah Hill.
And there's an interesting story about how those threads came to be, and our Ryan Meza found out. Take a look.
30 years ago, the Phoenix Suns took the Valley by storm. With the new arena, a new star player,
Off the Sabanos, back to Barkley. Barkley goes in for the jam.
and a new coach. But there is one thing from that 1992-93 season that caught eyes across the nation. That classic sunburst jersey.
One of the things that Jerry Colangelo wanted to do was to make sure that as we entered into this new, modern, wonderful facility, that we would also have an updated look to our uniforms and logo. So he put me in charge of that aspect of it.
It was time. It was just time for us, and what better time when you are opening up the newest, latest state-of-the-art facility in the country, which was America West Arena.
Maybe Kevin was like in June of '91. I flew out to Phoenix to meet with Jerry Colangelo, the owner of the Sun, along with Tom Ambrose, who I loved as a guy to work with, and another guy named Rich Dozier, and one more guy named Ray Artigue. And it was like the four of us, plus myself and Kevin and one or two people from our creative services division. And we went at it.
As the design process began, the Suns were looking to create a modern jersey to match a new modern arena. It was a delicate balance of staying true to the franchise's original colors of purple and orange that reflected the Arizona sunsets. Yet they were moving away from a Western look that no longer suited a team ready to step into a new era and spark some life into downtown Phoenix.
I wanted to be consistent with who we were and what we had done in the past, and this was, in my opinion, an upgrade, and it was taking a little bit of a positive change.
He said, well, I want to be a modern looking franchise. And he said, I really want to do this for the next 25 years. So whatever you will come up with, I want it to feel fairly fresh and new for the next quarter century, which ain't easy. Kevin and I started sketching away. Kevin's sketches were great because they were the colors that he was using were so robust. They were bold, they were bright. Those were like gorgeous sketches, and I think part of that, people love this design. Like, that is really cool, so it's like a modern version of it.
Some of those early sketches, I remember presenting you concepts where the sun was descending, and we were talking about this, and I'm like, yeah, I got this idea, like the sun's descending, like, toward the basket or something like that.
But Colangelo made sure the sunburst was on the rise to reflect an organization moving forward and upward. And with that creative adjustment, the Suns owner was set on the new look.
We thought it was a great looking uniform, and the logo came across big time. At the time, I thought it was the best logo in sports.
The rising sunburst then became the new logo. However, the apparel brand Champion had some difficulties getting such a big graphic on the jersey.
Champion or somebody come to us and say, we can't sew that sun onto the front of the uniform. It's going to weigh too much. But in that era, you started seeing like cyclists, right? And giant slalom skiers starting to wear these bodysuits, right? And that's when that dye sublimation technology was coming into place.
Since the jersey was mostly created through heat transmission, Champion suggested stitching on the names and numbers in order to give the jersey some value and more authenticity.
It's often a hard job, and you like get through it, and you're really not sure what you have until you see the first game. And I was just like staggered by how beautiful it looked when I first saw it. I was like, holy smokes.
There were some people that didn't love them, and they were mostly the older folks that had been around since 1968, and those were their uniforms.
I didn't like it. I didn't like that. You know, I know everybody's so excited about it right now, and I grew to like the design and the jersey, but I was a ball boy for the team. I grew up with that Western font.
I think we had a notion that these would be iconic. I think we felt like they would always be something very special just because they were so different.
The response we had was big, was enormous to all the Suns merchandise and all the things that had something to do with our logo and our brand and our look.
I'll be dead honest with you. I had no idea that anybody would give 25 years later.
And those 1992-93 Sunburst jerseys earned the respect and support of the Phoenix community by creating a space and team that will bring people from all over the valley together. In Phoenix, Ryan Meza, Cronkite Sports Report.
I might have to head on to the Footprint Center after this, Noelle, and grab one of those myself. I'm a big jersey guy.
I know. I think the purple might be our color too, but you can never go wrong with vintage. Up next, we're on to baseball. The 2023 MLB season is officially underway. The outlook for the Diamondbacks is much brighter thanks to rising stars like Corbin Carroll.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. Welcome to Check Please Arizona. You picked this place. Tell us why.
It was just so cozy.
Anything you order there is going to be phenomenal.
I had the meatballs.
Garlicky in the absolute best way.
They were amazeballs. I was that person that went up to the salsa bar 4 times.
Not what I was expecting. Join me for the 10th season of Check Please Arizona. I'm getting hungry.
Now on Passport.
What are you looking for in your life?
There's an important story that needs to be told.
Is it a sense of your own destiny?
Choose your story.
Try to help create change in some way.
It's a beautiful thing. Not very many people get to see.
Once you come into the neighborhood, you are a part of the family.
You can be a good person or a bad person. It's your choice.
Stop complaining and go actually do something.
Now you can stream even more documentaries with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Corbin Carroll is a rising star for the Diamondbacks this season. He's already projected as a National League Rookie of the Year candidate. And the outfielder recently signed an 8-year deal with the team worth $111 million. And he's cracked ESPN's Top 100 Players list.
As did Zach Gallen and Ketel Marte. Things are looking up for the Diamondbacks, who open the season with a 4-game set against the Dodgers in LA. Then they'll go down south to San Diego to see the Padres before coming home April 6th for their home opener.
And Matt, as you know, you can't win a championship in April, but you can lose one if you don't get off to a decent start. For more on what the Diamondbacks need to do in this opening month of the season, here's Diamondbacks broadcaster Jody Jackson.
I'm really excited about the season this year because we saw a lot of young players come up last year, and they have a lot of tools, a lot of speed. The hitting comes and goes, but I think this year they'll have that kind of experience under their belt to be able to take it into this year, and some young pitching that's really talented as well, and we're going to see those guys. A couple of them have made the team, and so I'm excited. I think this team could contend for a wild card. I mean, last year 74 wins. I think hopefully 500 or even a little bit better than that. I'm very optimistic. I'm hopeful.
Baseball players are very superstitious, and their pregame rituals can run the gamut from the mundane to the unusual. Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants leans more towards the unusual, and our Jackson Webster gets a taste of the pitcher's pregame routine.
Every pitcher has a pregame routine, but Logan Webb has taken his a step further. The pitcher drinks 3 Red Bulls before every game he pitches, and he's been doing it for years.
I have a Red Bull right when I get to the field, a Red Bull 2 hours before, and another Red Bull an hour before, all at the same time, every time. I think I've done that for 5, 6, maybe 7 years now.
Yeah, he pretty much just does that every day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of a routine it actually is. But yeah, the guy loves Red Bull. He needs a sponsorship is what he needs.
I usually see a Red Bull in his hands, walking around on game day starts for him. So, I mean, and that's his thing that gets him going, helps him get pumped up and locked in.
Red Bull, or Webb Bull, propelled Logan to a 2.90 ERA in 2022, and he's also been named the 2023 opening day starter for the Giants. He believes that Red Bull can take him even further, though.
We know that Red Bull gives you wings.
Yes.
But will it give you rings this season?
Yes.
Logan averages around 35 games per season, which means he's drinking around 105 Red Bulls a year. But we introduced him to 4 new flavors, starting with coconut.
I'm gonna be honest, coconut's never been my favorite, but that's pretty good. I like that one. Yeah. 10 out of 10. Can't beat it. It's just, that's OG right there. Probably not my favorite, not gonna lie. I like the peach, yeah. I'm gonna give that a 9. I'm not gonna lie, I think that one, that's my favorite flavored one. There's been a couple clubhouses where I can't find the Red Bull and I kind of freak out a little bit, but I always find a way.
No matter what, Webb will find a way to get his Red Bull. And he'll also continue to be a leader in the Giants clubhouse as they look to return to their 2021 form in 2023. In Scottsdale, Jackson Webster, Cronkite Sports.
Peach, yeah, I think I could get behind Peach as well. I gave that one a 9 on the rating.
Yeah, and I'm with him on the coconut. That's not really my style either, but the OG seems to work for him. All right, that's all the time we have for this Friday edition of Cronkite News. I'm Noelle Blumel.
And I'm Matt Venezia. Thank you for joining us.